with Sharilyn and Harry today. We've got a little couple duo, and we're going to talk about their experience with the P3toLife program. Sharilyn is the one who was following it after her journey with HCG, but also her husband Harry wanted to pipe in with his thoughts on the food, which is important because we know that a lot of the time, us women who diet, I find that we end up kind of eating a lot of the same boring foods, and then we kind of stop eating with our family, or we stop cooking for our family because we develop this bad relationship with food and our weight, and then our family members suffer, and well, we don't know that there's a way out of that. So we'll kind of hear their feedback a little bit on some of the P3toLife meals today. So welcome, you guys.
Sure, good
Thank
to be
you.
here.
Yeah, thank you. So we want Hubby to be able to go off and go do his whatever he has to do today. So why don't you share, what your feedback was on the P3toLife meals that Sharilyn was preparing and everything?
Yeah, I think we've been married for 33 years, so over the years, as Cheryl's tried different things. There's been times when it really became a battle because as days and weeks droned on of eating some of the stuff that or the lack of being able to go out and have something to eat, became difficult. But this time, I really always kind of go with the flow as long as it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I found to be really amazing. Is some of these dishes are some of the best I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what has made a difference. And also where I run maybe 5 to 10 pounds overweight most of the time, I'm losing weight just eating with her.
Really? Just the P3toLife meals?
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
I still do my little cheats or whatever you want to call on the side, but now that I eat the meals for both lunch and dinner, all of a sudden my weight's coming down.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And would you say, from a guy's perspective, I mean, you might have eaten more than Sharilyn as far as amounts go, but like with what you ate, was it pretty satisfying as far as being full
Yeah, and
and
that's real
whatnot?
surprising, especially with the cauli rice and all that. That just lasts for hours, and
Great.
I don't get the stuffed feeling that I used to get when I'd eat.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, and the taste is it's really been pretty amazing. I was
Oh,
really surprised.
awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. And you mentioned, Sharilyn, in your notes to me that you guys have been having like dinner more together, like on the porch or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been, I mean, he's been so excited that I'm cooking for him. It's like a form of showing him how much I love him, I think. And he's really enjoyed that. And we've been spending time together out on our porch. It's really pretty. We've got lights hung up out there now. He's been working on the porch this summer, so it's just
Oh,
really pretty. It's nice.
that's great. It's nice when it can become something that's more of an enjoyable experience that's instead of something that you dread or try to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we look forward to the meals.
Yeah.
Good. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
thank you. Thanks, Harry, for that feedback from a guy. So, and that's so cool too that you lost a little weight even though you probably weren't really trying. So,
I wasn't even trying, I mean, really, I just do my usual eating, and I have a top I used to do really. Years ago, I went down to about 180 pounds. I usually run 190 to 195 in that area, and I'm 6'2", so that was about as lean as I can go. Is about 180, and like I said, just in the last year or so, I found it really harder to be able to eat with the way I want to and get back down into the 185, 190 range. And what I started finding out is, it's like I got rid of the bloat. You
yeah.
know, I got rid of the stomach bloat. My stomach started getting flatter, and it was just through eating this. And then, I go to the gym and weigh, and now I've dropped 3 to 5 pounds, and I've just changed nothing other than eating what she's preparing now.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, real quick, because like you said, sometimes you get like a bloated feeling or whatnot when you eat other food. What kind of foods, ingredients were you eating before?
Oh, usual for down here. Pasta bread,
Mexican food.
Mexican food galore,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
like I said, I was trying to get back into the 180 to 185 range, and I just was not able to break 190 probably for since the beginning of the year, and,
Gotcha.
and I've really changed nothing other than our lunch and dinners, and breakfast when I can, and like I said, the biggest change was really, there's no bloat with this food.
Cool.
You know, there's no that feeling in your stomach is just stuffed. I don't get that at all anymore.
That's awesome. Was that your first time having cauliflower rice with these meals, or have you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were okay with it, you know, because sometimes people are like, I don't know, that sounds kind of weird, you know.
I was surprised, you know, again, when we first started off and we were in steak and all that stuff, I said, I'm great with this, all the steak and everything else we were eating and the asparagus and our
That was in the
food.
HCG. He ate some meals with me in that one too.
Very
Right.
cool. Very cool. Awesome.
So then we go into the, sun-dried tomato and
Oh.
chicken and stuff and
That's week 4, or week 4.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's just that is really great tasting food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I'm
good.
not gonna let her stop doing this because I really
You're
like.
like, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we figure with 6 weeks we can just cycle it around.
You know, and week 7, actually, we're editing it right now. There's a 7th week coming.
Yay!
Yeah, it'll be up probably in the next month. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and 3 entertaining menus, which is
Wow.
basically like a bunch more recipes. So, yeah.
Awesome.
There's like a harvest menu, and then there's like this barbecue menu, and so, yeah.
That'll be awesome. Yeah.
It's
Well,
good.
good. Well, I'm so glad. Thanks for all your input, Harry. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Talk
gotta
to
run.
you later.
See you later.
Bye, honey. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah, I love when the husbands chime in. It's always a nice, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's actually one of the unexpected. Yeah, no
Sorry.
worries. Do what you need to do. But
Kind of
yeah,
had
I
a
think it's one of
some,
the
like-
unexpected benefits of the program that I think I'm starting to draw more attention to now that this has been the experience of a lot of women that they're like, wow, I'm eating with my family. I usually don't, or I can eat the same food finally, or they like it too, which they usually don't like the food for the diet food I'm eating or whatnot. And so I didn't actually know that that's kind of what the result would be, but it seems
Yeah,
to
how
be.
funny.
Yeah, so
It's a nice result.
Yeah.
You're bringing families together through your program.
yeah, no, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Even for me, honestly, because when I was making the recipes more, because I don't have much creativity on my own, and so with food. So when the recipe developer, we worked on these recipes together, and same thing, like my husband really liked them too. He's like, hey, these are good. I'm like, well, if you grocery shop for me, honey, and get the stuff, I will make it for you.
Yeah, I don't like to grocery shop either, but so far it's been okay with this.
That's good. That's good. Well, why don't we get into kind of some of the basic questions here? What were some of your biggest concerns when you were contemplating P3? I can't remember if you've done P3 before or not.
I have. I did the HCG program back in 2010 and had very little guidance about how to come off of the HCG. And I remember having to do steak days, and I dreaded them when it happened because it was almost like being spanked.
Yeah.
You know, you screwed up, you gained too much weight, and now you can't eat all day until you eat a steak at night, and it was just awful because then it's like you have to rearrange your whole schedule for that.
Right.
To not have to do a steak day was a concern of mine.
Gotcha.
And not to be all volatile with my weight as well. I really wanted to make this be the last time I lose weight.
Gotcha. I know, and I think that's the same thing for a lot of women. It's like a lot of us are pretty successful with phase 2, but then we find we have to do it over and over because we don't know what
Yeah, I
to do.
don't want to do that. And I was so successful. I think I did 3 rounds back then and lost like 55 pounds.
Wow.
And and I kept it off for about 2 years. And then I just kind of got out of the game of fitness through recovering from a 3-month surgery recovery.
Oh,
So I
gotcha.
think that took me out of the game, and I tried everything else then, Whole30, just eating healthy, eating less, and just nothing worked. And so I talked to my doctor, and he's like, just do HCG again, and I agreed.
Yeah.
So,
I know sometimes I do see that people who've done HCG, it's true because it's so hard, we kind of get mentally tired of it, So sometimes I'll see people that have done it and then they need to do it, something again to lose weight, and then they're like, I'm thinking of trying this other diet instead. And I have to be honest, I'm like, but HCG is just really so effective. If you gotta lose it, I mean, that's what seems like the best.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny.
it does work.
Well, so you do, since you have done previous P3s then, so you did notice that whole thing with your weight being volatile in P3
Yeah,
then, where it's just
yeah.
really bouncy.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to eat or how much to eat. And I think what I remember, I've seen more things about gradually, like you said, reverse dieting.
Yeah,
Now, I didn't see any of that before. So I
right.
think I probably jumped into too much food right after the HCG phase 2 in the past,
Yeah.
but it was awful. It was
I
just
did the same thing. Well, because part of it too is like, because we all love Dr. Simeon's protocol. Like he came up with it. It's awesome, but it
Mhm.
is true that in his original manuscript, he does say like after the VLCD, like when you start eating no starches and no sugars, don't restrict your calories at all, and like immediately kind of eat, a lot more,
Yeah.
not in so many words, but so it did kind of make us feel like, okay, I better like jump in there and just pound down the bacon or like,
Whatever.
and
Yeah.
make sure that my metabolism, and so I think that's partly why we didn't think, oh, we think, oh, it might be bad to raise our calories gradually. But then in practice, it's actually been that when women do that, that's when they actually end up stabilizing really well. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's too
Yeah, I can
funny.
see that. But that I think those were my biggest concerns.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so since you've had to do steak days in the past with the other P3s, how about when you followed P3 to Life? Did you end up having any correction days?
None. In fact, I actually lost 7 pounds over the 3 weeks, and I think 13 and a quarter inches even
Wow, that is
from
so
the
amazing.
from the VL, what is the last day of injection
Yeah.
till the 21st day. So
Awesome.
that was an incredible surprise,
Yeah.
and I was full the whole time, and I was just that was so unexpected. I was
That
thinking I was going to have to stick with this one weight. I lost 23 pounds in phase 2.
okay.
So to get 30 pounds down now, it's just, wow. I may not have to do as many rounds as I thought.
That is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you said that even though you lost 7 whole pounds, that's over about 3 weeks or so, right?
Yeah.
But you said you felt like satiated with the meals, like you felt
Yes.
full.
Yeah, no, it's been the only times I've gotten hungry, like we talked about, my husband's a musician, so he has band gigs on the weekends, and I'll go to those, and if I stay up really late, I sometimes can feel a little hunger, but if I just drink some water or something, maybe do some of that flavored stuff, stir, I think is what it's called, in
Yes,
water,
love that stuff.
it does satisfy me, and I can go ahead and go to sleep without, having any problem sleeping. I'm sleeping like crazy great too.
Really?
I don't
Oh,
know if
good.
that's this or losing weight or the whole combination, but
Yeah.
yeah, or like Harry said, maybe it's no bloating. I don't know. I'm sleeping great though.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, I know it possibly, like you said, maybe your hormones are a little more balanced from losing weight, or,
Yeah.
and that's true too, honestly, the eating, the not being bloated thing. So
Yeah.
my husband's kind of at that point where he can't eat too late at night or he won't be able to sleep well because of the just digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
But that's the only hunger I've ever had is if I've stayed up till 2 a.m.,
gotcha. Which is yeah,
which
which
is
I know
unusual.
I've done that before where I've like woken up in the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep. It's like 3 in the morning, and so I get up to go on my iPad and I'll have the same thing where I'll start feeling ravenous.
Uh-huh.
Like my stomach just feel, and it's like, but yeah, like, do you really want to eat at 3 in the morning? I mean, so
Yeah. No, I kind of still have that in my mind that it's not a good idea.
yes,
Eat
yeah,
in the middle of the
exactly. Yeah,
night.
yeah, because we're supposed to be sleeping. So,
Yeah.
well, so what did you feel like the P3 program provided you that you didn't have? I mean, so we talked about the struggle in past P3s. So, what did the P3 to Life program do for you then?
Well, in the beginning, I wasn't really sure how it was going to work. But as the days progressed, I'd say after 3 or 4 days, I started gaining confidence in that this is going to work. And I also, I don't know if this is what you asked too, but I gained confidence in how to cook and how to shop for things. And I have just been out of that loop for a while of, it's a long story short, I'm caring for my mother, and that took me a little bit out of the game of cooking. She
Gotcha.
just recently moved into a home, so we're back to just us right now.
Gotcha.
But it's been very, very enlightening to learn so much about the food
Gotcha.
and how to make it. And variety is great. And vegetables you really do eat a lot of vegetables. And I don't think I was ever doing my vegetables in such a big portion.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Was that good? Did that answer your question though?
Yeah, no, there's no right or wrong answer. This is just your experience. So, yeah, no, that's very helpful. I'm curious, like, specifically that you talked about that it kind of helped you, like, get back into, like, what works shopping and cooking wise. Like, do you have any examples, or just for helping other gals doing the program too? Like, specifically, like, what helped, like, what was it exactly that
Oh,
you got?
well, your video tutorials were great.
Oh, good,
I
good.
never chopped up a butternut squash in my life, and you made it seem so easy. So we did do that, or I should say me, myself, and I. I did it, and that worked out really good, and that was really awesome. And then there were some other tutorials that you had about the cooking that was really good. How to make the meatballs even. That
Oh,
worked
good.
really good. Yeah. My daughter saw me doing that. She goes, I wondered what you were doing, cutting the things in half. I said,
Well, it's funny when you start thinking about the calories and the macros, which you kind of have to in the P3toLife program. And so you're like,
yeah.
how do you like do this and make it doable, not like super insane, like measuring, I don't know. So,
Yeah, they have to wait for me at the end of every time I'm finished cooking. I'm like, everybody wait. I must divide this into 4 portions.
That's
And they're very patient.
good. You're like, okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Awesome.
Yeah. So that made a real difference. The tutorials did. And I haven't seen all the coaching videos. I want to see more of them.
Yeah.
But I've seen, I really, those have been very helpful too. And being able to just keep going back to your site and check things has been helpful. And then I reached out to you with a question and you answered it. And it says that right there in the recipe to drain the julienne.
Oh. Well, I was still good because, every once in a while there could be an error. So I'll double check when somebody emails with something like, oh, let me make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
So that's good. Awesome.
It was nice though that you're responsive.
Oh, yeah.
You're just a face on a screen and, hey, you bought my program and now don't reach out to me. So that was really impressive.
Oh,
And
I'm glad.
You replied to me really quickly.
Good. Yeah, I do check every day. So you guys paid for a program, so I'm here for you. So I'm always checking to make sure comments. If you guys leave a comment on the P3toLife site, I check all that stuff every day. So
That's nice.
That's good. And then you mentioned too, just while we're talking about the food aspect, because I'm interested in this too, because I think people, as you guys make the meals, it's really good feedback. Just the logistics, I guess, of cooking and because you mentioned how busy you are. Actually, can you tell us about that? Like, tell us just about how busy you are and then the logistics.
Yeah. Okay, well, I work part-time, which you'd think, oh, well, she must have some time. But I also manage everything for my mother, her finances and her medical care. And before, just recently, the last few weeks, I also cared for her in my home. And that was caregivers coming and going because she needed care 24 hours a day. Wow. And my father-in-law lives nearby, so I take him to doctor's appointments too. So my days are filled. Yeah. We have 4 grandkids that live nearby and 3 children, and wow. 1 child still lives at home and is in college. Gotcha. I also volunteer it's really not volunteering, we don't call it that. But anyway, I volunteer in a leadership program where I coach people. So that involves several hours a week.
Wow.
Like, I would guess 10 hours a week.
Wow.
It's really an incredible program. But all of that, and I'm really busy, so I really have to look at my calendar and I schedule when I'm going to go shopping and make sure that that's going to work on which day. And sometimes I've split up the shopping, which is pretty easy to do because of the way you do the ingredients and you list which recipes are which. I can figure out which ones I need to buy, what for, and I can split it up if I need to.
Oh, good. See, this is good to hear because, I as I went through things, I tried to, picture how people would be doing it, but then it's nice in practice to hear, like you said, if you're looking at a grocery list, I was like, that's only if you actually make every recipe, or like you said, maybe if you want to shop twice, then you're like, well, which ones go to which recipe? So that's why there's, the number of which recipe it goes with at the end. So you ended up finding that useful then.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, that was so useful.
Good.
Yeah. Then, what else was I going to say about that?
Just that sometimes it worked out to do your grocery shopping twice a week, maybe to keep things fresher.
Sometimes. And there was even sometimes I had a weekend event that I was going to, and I was gone from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. every day.
Oh, wow.
So what I did for that one is I would get home at like almost 11.
Yeah.
I would cook for the next day.
Yeah.
And it worked out good, because sometimes I only have to cook one meal, because the meals oftentimes you're eating a leftover the next day, which works out awesome.
Good.
That makes things a lot easier.
Awesome.
And so I was able to go to this program and bring all my food and eat my food that I needed to eat at this program. So
perfect. Did you have it like just in a bag or a cooler? Or?
I brought it in a cooler, and they had a microwave, so
Awesome.
it worked out
Perfect.
really well. Yeah.
Awesome.
But
That's
yeah, I'm really busy, so if you're really busy, there's no reason you can't make this work. You just got to plan ahead and figure it out. And sometimes it may be, I didn't do any of that cook for a week, but I would cook a day or two ahead in some situations when I had a lot going on.
Gotcha. Yeah, and because you, even with as busy as you are, since you guys, there's basically two layouts for the meal plan. One is the original layout, which is what you did, right, Sharilyn? And then one's the simplified. So with the original layout, it has the most recipes used in a week, where you're maybe eating leftovers only once, or if you make a larger batch, maybe twice. But then you get more variety, and so you even made that work, being so busy.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I did. I did the original.
in general, were you cooking like 1 or 2 meals a day, and then the leftovers the next day, or how did you?
No, it usually was maybe the first day of a week.
Okay.
I'd be cooking the whole day, not cooking.
Oh, so you did do like a batch cook day at the
No,
start.
no.
Oh, okay.
It's just because that would be the beginning of that week, so new recipes.
Right.
And then after that, then it was like a stair-step thing.
Gotcha.
Like maybe I'd cook once a day, and then maybe one day it'd be twice, but the next day would be once. And
Gotcha.
yeah. So
cool.
it's only the first day I think added a little extra.
Right.
Because mine ended up starting on a Wednesday, because you don't have a choice on that. It's like where you end is where it starts.
Exactly.
And I usually work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday full days. So what I did was on Tuesday night, I would plan for the next day what I needed to do. And that made a big difference too. So I could maybe make the breakfast the night before, and so it would be ready. And in the morning, I ended up working from home not too long ago. It hasn't been that long though. I must have made the lunch too. I bet I made the lunch and the breakfast for the next day. And then we got in the cycle. So it's usually only Tuesday night for the Wednesday that I had to kind of plan ahead on a general basis.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and
other
you
than
mentioned
that,
you recommended to like really look at the recipes for the coming week so you could plan. Did you want to talk about any details on that at all? Or?
Yes, I would love to, because first of all, if they have to do a crock pot recipe and they don't have an Instant Pot, which I highly recommend the Instant Pot. I see stripes on me. Anyway, I should look at me. The Instant Pot is an amazing tool, and it is definitely worth it. I mean, the benefits you get from it are just incredible. We've had one for a while.
Yeah.
My daughter-in-law has been using it mostly when she comes over and makes stuff for our family.
Yeah.
I seem like a goofball about it and can't figure it out, but I'm getting better at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
It's
is really helpful.
intimidating at first because you see that little nozzle and all the buttons, and you're like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and the first time I used it, I didn't do something right, and it didn't even cook for the 30 minutes we waited. It was really weird.
You probably forgot to close the pressure valve or something.
Something, I don't know. Anyway, it all worked out, though, because it's so fast.
Yes.
So my point is just that if they're not looking ahead to see that they need to use their crock pot, that could be a real disappointment to come home and try to make a crock pot recipe at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
So I thought it would be good to just look ahead. And I mean, the planning you've done all the work.
I tried to as much as possible.
Yes. All we have to do is just take a look and see what's it going to take for me to make this happen, and how can I work it into my schedule to make it happen. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, because like you said, I tried to do as much as I could, but then, as you mentioned, everyone starts P3 on a different day. Because it's like when I was planning the meal plan, I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, wait a minute, but because ideally, there might be a certain day of the week that would be best, but then most people we have no idea. So yeah, you will have to do a little customized planning.
Yeah. And so I also found that paying attention to how much chopping was going to be done, just if you know that there's going to be a lot of different ingredients that you need to chop up.
Yeah.
We almost always just bought cauli rice.
Yeah, you can.
Rather
It's
than
so
making
accessible now.
Yeah, it is very accessible. And so that always saved a lot. And I've been using my food processor probably 3,000 times more than I have in the entire 30 years I've had it. I now know how it works.
You're like, cool. Well, it's
Yes.
amazing how many vegetables you can chop into tiny bits and then they become way more tasty, you know?
Yeah, because you can get all the flavor on each little piece.
Like, who
Yeah.
knew?
So I found that also to be helpful. Or if there was a marinade, you need to know that. Or if it's the
Right.
overnight chia pudding,
Yes.
you need to know that. And
Yeah.
so Harry loves the chia pudding too. I made it for him this last time.
Oh, great.
He hadn't eaten all the meals with me, just
Sure.
some.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Was it the chocolate one or the...
No, this was the strawberry cream.
Oh, good. And he liked it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
this was it's number 4. I'm sorry, we're on week
Yeah.
4 now.
No, it's fine. There's lots of different weeks, so yeah, I just wasn't sure. Awesome, very cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious, since you, I always mean to ask this on all my interview gals, and then I keep forgetting. So were you using typically, like, did you do the printable documents and print them out black and white, or did you just look at them on your tablet or phone, the color version?
No, I printed them all out and put them in this giant notebook
Gotcha.
with plastic sheets for each one.
Gotcha.
I'm a CPA by trade, so I'm
Yeah.
a little nerdy, and I did them in a full color.
Yeah.
Just used up
Cool.
my print
Oh, so you
color.
actually printed the color version, but you printed it out.
I did.
Gotcha. It's
did.
prettier that way, right?
Yeah, it's sectioned, and so I
Nice.
can find things. And what I do is I put a little sticky at the top of each week I'm on, so I can get to that week fast to see what's coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's great. So, and then you lost the 7 pounds, 13 and a quarter inches doing this, which is crazy. That's really, really neat to hear. And you guys,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen for everyone. Like, just keep in mind that, like, some women lose on P3toLife, some just stabilize it. It all just kind of depends on where your metabolism is at. And then also, some of the ladies, they end up kind of eating a little less than the calories dictate just because they're full, you know, and they're like, hey, if I'm full and I'm losing, I'm not going to complain, you know. So you always have a choice. For those of you who are like, oh, I want to make sure I stabilize, that's totally fine. You just add a little butter, you know, add a little more fat to the calories so that you're not losing weight. But by and large, most women, they find if they're able to lose a little weight while not feeling like they're on a diet, they're usually okay with that. So.
I am definitely, yeah. I definitely have added exercise to every day.
Cool.
Also,
What kind
so
of
maybe
exercise
that
are you
helps.
doing? Yeah.
When I'm not lifting weights, I'm walking. And when I'm not at a band gig, when I go to a band gig,
Yeah.
I'm dancing. I've really
Nice.
taken on that I'm just going to dance. I love to dance anyway.
Yeah.
So I've just taken it on that I'm going to dance the whole night.
How fun. That's awesome.
Yes.
That burns a lot of calories. Yeah. And then you said
Yeah,
you do some weightlifting too?
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. You do weightlifting as well?
Yes, I do weightlifting. I do this program called the Perfect Workout,
Oh, okay.
which I got trained on. I did it for a month with trainers, and now I just do it on my own at our city rec center.
Really? Very cool.
Yeah, $70 a year.
Is there like an online version of that at all, or is that just a local thing that your area offers?
The Perfect Workout. Well, it was started in California, and I know they also have it in Texas.
Okay.
It's pretty expensive, but it takes me 30 minutes to do the entire workout.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting stronger and stronger, and it's just amazing.
That's great.
That's
And then is it with weights like at a gym, like heavier weights?
Yeah,
Or
you need the ones that have
the bar?
the ones, no, they're
Dumbbells.
machines.
Oh,
Use the
machines.
machines so that you have resistance both ways.
Gotcha. Very
Yeah, but
cool.
When you go to the Perfect Workout, not that we're trying to sell anything for them, but they'll give you all the information you need
Yeah.
and a free workout just
Cool.
going there one time. You can
I
get all.
bet. Great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll put it in if I can find it, you guys. It's called the Perfect Workout. She said I'll put it in the show note links because I think the more resources and options that women have for fitting some type of resistance training into their life is really, really important, honestly, for long-term health. You know, so.
Yeah, I have osteopenia, like
Okay.
so it's real
Right.
important. But I hate weightlifting. I just abhor it. But this has made it okay.
It's like, okay. And do you do it, what, like 2 or 3 times a week, or?
It's actually, they recommend just twice a week. And one week I did do it 3 times, but that was rough. because it's very intense. It's basically lifting weights like this.
Oh.
And it's real high resistant. And you do it until you have this thing called muscle failure,
Yeah,
and it's muscle because of that.
Great. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, so, and you guys, she said 2 times a week for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Each.
Yes.
1 hour of your life a week. That's it.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And there are studies.
It is so far. It's working great.
Yeah, and yeah, look at you. And there's studies, honestly, that show that if you do resistance training like that, it does slow and stop the process of osteoporosis for women. Like, it's very important for your bones.
Yeah, that's what my doctor said.
From what I've read, like, it can't reverse it, but that's why it's also important to start sooner rather than later, because it can stop the process, though, or at least slow it down greatly, so
yeah,
that's cool.
And I walk outside otherwise. I love to be outside. That's something I discovered recently, that I was trying to figure out all these things. I'll work out at home or go to classes, but I like just being alone and going for a walk. I've been doing a dance cardio station on Pandora.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I like that. I just give the thumbs up to the ones that have the right rhythm, thumbs down to the ones that are too slow. And
it saves you that kind of playlist of the ones you like, huh?
Dance cardio, yeah.
Okay, I'll put that in the show note links too, you guys. I mean, all these tips, you never know. And I appreciate that you took that time in your head to kind of figure out what it is you personally like that you could see yourself continuing to do.
Yes, I decided that was really important at this stage because, like Harry mentioned earlier, I've actually been on some sort of diet, I think, since I was 13 years old when my mother put me on a diet. And I wasn't even really that heavy. Looking back on it, how silly that was. And I just think I took it on from that point, that I'm always going to be struggling with my weight. And I have. Up and down, up and down. And yeah, so I'm really determined to find some kind of balance. As I'm shrinking out of my clothes, they're going to Goodwill.
Like, that's it.
Going back to them.
Putting them on, yeah. No, I love that, and I think for the rest of you ladies out there, same thing. You guys and I talk about CrossFit all the time, and that's not going to be for everyone. Like, for some reason, I absolutely love it. In fact, I tried recently to switch over to doing some kettlebell work, and I just it's okay, but there's something about the big barbells and the movements that just make me feel excited. So yeah, and for you, like being outside and walking and being alone. Or for some people, they want to be in a group environment. If you just try out different things and see what feels like you actually enjoy it more than other things, so that you can be consistent. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
I do like it when my daughter joins me on walks too. She does, so not always alone, but probably 99% of the time I'm alone.
Yeah. Well, that's good though. It's good to find those things. The smoothies.
Oh yeah.
So I know you said you didn't get to make them all the time, but I did see in our notes that you had been making them maybe with a different blender, and then you got the Vitamix. I wanted to know if you could tell me what the comparison was for how they turned out with both types of blenders and what you think of the smoothies and stuff.
So I started, my daughter that is living with us now had a Ninja. So I watched your video and I tried to use the Ninja and it just didn't do very good. Talk about Icy Bits. I had Icy Bits and melted stuff. It was really inconsistent. It just wasn't working. Yeah. And so I told my husband, I said, I know this is more money because I'd already bought your program. Right. And then I bought a lot of the things that you recommended I bought. Yeah. And I said, I really think it's going to be worth it because he loves ice cream. Yeah. We can't keep ice cream in our house. That's part of why he stays in good shape. We don't keep ice cream in our house because I don't care about ice cream, but he loves it. And I said, this could replace ice cream. That's how I enrolled him into let's get a Vitamix. And Costco had him for $349.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I got that, and now he enjoys them with me. And that makes the big carafe work. If I'm making a double portion, I can use I don't know what you call that thing.
The tamper.
Tamper.
Yes.
I call it a wand. The magic wand.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you should call it.
Even with that, it has taken a little bit of trial and error to get where I'm better at it. And in fact, I made one just before this call that we just put the cups in the freezer.
Oh, there you go.
We weren't going to rush it. Right. Yeah. the pina colada one.
Oh, good. You like that one? Good. I like that one
Good.
too.
Yeah, I think cherries and cream. Of course, we're in week 4, but
Yeah.
anyway, I think they've all the ones we've tried so far have been good. I don't, except for the ginger one. The ginger one was kind of weird to us,
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's fine.
all
Yeah.
yeah, we just try it. Don't like it, no big deal.
Right, yeah. I also
Uh,
found actually speaking of I don't know if it was was that the pumpkin pie smoothie one or no?
no,
Or
that
did
one
you?
was great.
Oh,
It was
okay, a
lemon
different one.
ginger or something.
I even forget. I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, there's so many.
Yeah, so but that's
So
great. So
many.
you love the pina colada one, which I love, and it's the funny thing is like there is a little bit of pineapple in there, obviously, pina colada,
Yes.
but it's a very tiny amount. It's not. It
Yes.
doesn't make it a high carb treat, and you would have no idea that you only need a little bit. You
I
know.
have to tell you about the first one I made.
Yes.
It was peppermint chocolate.
Yeah.
And I misunderstood that you said peppermint extract, and I used peppermint oil, like essential oil.
Oh wow, that was probably like.
It was awful.
Yeah. Like your mouth was probably like on fire, like
Yeah.
that cold cream you put on your skin, like the pain healing cream, like in your mouth.
Yes, I'm really telling one of myself there. My daughter and I just died laughing about it. I mean, I tried to get her. She's like, what?
What did you do to me? Oh, and that's so sad that was one of your first ones too.
It was the first one I tried.
Man, and even the peppermint extract, like peppermint's so strong, like because I think actually one of the times I made it, the spout on the bottle was kind of big, and I over poured, and I was doing it over the blender, so yeah, same thing. It was way too much, so I was like, okay, I need to do this over the sink, so that if any overspills, I'm not ruining the thing. So what were your
I
favorites
think Ninja
then?
Blender smells like peppermint now forever.
I bet that's true. That's true. Is the consistency better then with the Vitamix? Is it
Oh,
much creamier?
yes. Now it's almost like, what do they call them? The Italian ice
I don't
or
remember.
shaved ice. It's almost like
Yeah.
shaved ice.
Cool.
Creamy and
Nice.
it's such a treat.
Cool.
We're missing them very much lately.
Yeah.
But I'm working from home, so it's making it easier for me not to miss them.
Cool.
Otherwise, I don't know. I guess I could work it in late at night, but I haven't been doing that much.
It's
mid-afternoon.
right. Yeah, it's kind of whenever people have their different times that they're home and munchy, and they're pretty quick to make. And so yeah, I'll make mine late at night sometimes.
There's another plus with the Vitamix.
Yeah.
It's so easy to clean.
Yeah, it's true. Just rinse it and rinse it out. Yeah, that's good. Oh, I'm so glad because, like, to me, I'm a big, like, dessert person and a big person that likes to munch late at night. And so that was kind of how the P3 dessert smoothies were born. Because it's like, okay, I've already eaten quite a bit today. I can't really get away with some cake or regular ice cream, you know, plus with my sugar problem, you know. So that was where those came from, where they're still fairly good size volume, but then they have the taste and that kind of ice creamish texture. So
they're very good.
very cool. Awesome. I'm glad. So
they're worth the price of your program.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I actually have a bunch more P3toLife or P3 smoothies recipes. I have a whole document going because I was eventually going to just make a separate like smoothie ebook or something, you know, because it's like I have like 60 probably.
Oh wow.
50 to 60 recipes. Yeah. So I can only work on so many things at one time though. So I get all these ideas. I do. I have two. I have two already. Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's good.
I know, but yeah. So, I was. So, what were a couple of your favorite meals then? The P3toLife meals. Did you have a couple favorites?
Yes, and I think I know I wrote them down, but I can't remember. They were both Thai ones.
Yes.
It was the Thai curry meatballs.
Yep.
And Thai chicken something.
The pad Thai.
Pad Thai with Miracle Noodles. I have to say, I've never tried those Miracle Noodles all the times I've been on HCG because they looked so freaking weird in the bag.
Yeah, they're
I was
like
like,
all clear and like, what?
We loved them.
Great.
Yeah, because you had it in your recipe and I was committed to making things work. I tried them this time and we loved them.
Great.
So we're ready for noodle recipes. How about that?
Yeah, and now did you order yours online or did you get them in your local grocery store?
They didn't have them in our grocery store, so I did order them from Amazon, and they were there the next day. It was great, very easy, and they have all kinds of shapes. So they have angel hair, fettuccine, and rice.
And they even have a ziti one now. They're like kind of thick, chunky cuts. I really, really like this cut.
Oh,
Ziti.
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
new one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, those were really good. So anyway,
Good.
besides the noodles though,
Yeah.
I think we like spicy.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you have red pepper flakes in some of your stuff. And
Good.
the only thing we ever added more of in anything was garlic. My husband he loves garlic, and I
Nice.
love garlic.
Yeah.
We're safe from vampires this way.
You know, my husband's the same. He loves garlic too. We grow garlic in our garden, and we had quite a crop this year. So we've definitely been adding extra garlic to everything, trying to eat it all. So
Yeah, it's kind of like salt to taste. We're garlic to taste.
there you go. Yep. See. I was curious. You know, you mentioned earlier that you've done Whole30 before.
Yeah.
I was curious. I mean, how do you feel like the P3toLife program compares with that as far as like ease of use or the meals or whatnot? Just because I haven't done Whole30, but when I look at the way things are laid out, it seems kind of similar. But then some gals have just said that I provided a little more detailed guidance for actually what to do. Or I was just curious what your feedback is.
Yeah, well, okay, so on the Whole30 and eating the whole foods, I think it's very similar to this. We're eating whole foods.
Right.
Yeah, and we're not eating beans and some of the things that they leave out in the Whole30.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have it, it's like the ultimate moment when you have it all laid out. Here's what you're to eat today. Here's what you're eating. I mean, it's making it so much more automatic, even though you're doing the work.
Right. So just the structure, the actual plan.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Instead of like you have to still pick out what you're going to cook and when and all that, right?
That's why I picked the original plan.
Just follow the rules.
Yeah, I just want to go with what is already set up and tried and true and not worry about it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's a big difference.
Very cool. Yeah, no, that's really helpful. There.
We didn't do any substituting until just recently.
Yeah.
So talking about that, I don't think you asked about that.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, knowing that you can substitute a meat that you don't like, my husband does not like the chicken thighs. And I think maybe if I cut off any fat on them, it would be okay, because I like them.
I know, everyone's different. I've noticed about that when it comes to meat and texture. Like my husband, he loves everything fatty. Like, thighs, as much fat as possible. I make him and my son like these quesadillas every morning for breakfast. My husband wants like a pool of butter with his tortilla and tons of cheese, right? And chicken thighs. And my son, he's the complete opposite. He doesn't like any fat. He doesn't like the thigh. He likes chicken breast. He doesn't want hardly any butter on the outside of his tortilla. You know what I mean? Like he wants it like really dry. And it's just interesting. So
yeah, we all have different ways we like.
So you've been subbing some of the meats then?
Well, yeah, except what piece of chicken do you sub for a thigh? If you do the breast, it's less fat.
Right.
But that's what we did, and then we just added a little butter to something, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of did that.
Totally.
Because I can, you're with me?
Yeah.
I didn't know what chicken to sub.
Right.
We only done it once.
Yeah, because it's a higher fat content meat, which is why he doesn't like it. So yeah, exactly. I think that makes perfect sense. Do the type of meat he likes, and then if it needs a little more calories, you could just, like you said, add olive oil or fat or something to the vegetable or the cauliflower rice or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Perfect. That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. I think that pretty much covers kind of all my questions there. Do you have any just last closing thoughts? You know, I think you mentioned like at first sight, you know, since the program is an investment, that you do feel hesitant. So do you want to just share that, you know, what your hesitancy was and if it was worth it?
Yeah, I'd love to share that I bet there's a lot of women out there that probably feel like me.
Yeah.
And they've spent a lot of money on diets. And tried everything. Maybe they've even done surgeries, or who knows what they've done. And there's an interesting twist in our minds where we're not worth money. And we are worth money. Yeah. And that's something I discovered through that program I told you I work with, the leadership program. Part of what I've learned in that is that I am worthy of spending money on myself. And so I took on, that's why I tried the perfect workout for a month, because it was like $500 for 1 month.
Gotcha.
that won't be a surprise now when you see that.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I took that on,
Yeah.
and that was really hard for me.
Gotcha.
And but we are worth it. Your families know you're worth it,
Right.
and just because you may not think you're worth it, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And this is a very valuable way to spend money. To get a program like this that we can use the rest of our lives. We can live on P3toLife the rest of our lives, just like you call it P3toLife. I just got that. Hello.
You're like,
Anyway.
it really is. Okay.
Whoa.
Yes, that
This
was
is
the
that
point.
moment.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I want to be a way that you could feel like I'll be happy eating this way long term, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's it.
I'm very excited about it.
I'm
So
glad.
that was where I hesitated because I was like, oh my gosh, I've spent the money on the HCG and
Yeah.
I've spent all this money forever and ever. So it was just a conversation to have with my husband, who is always supportive. But there's that little part of you that just needs the reassurance that, is it really okay?
Right.
Like when I did the perfect workout for that month, he totally supported that too.
Aw, that's a good
Yeah.
hubby. Yeah,
He is a very good hubby.
that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
He's a keeper.
yeah, I know. Mine too. He's the same way. He's always very supportive about things like that. And I'm glad that you bring that up, that we're worthy of spending money on ourselves, because I tend to actually be the same way. I'm a very naturally frugal person. My husband's more the spender, and I'm more the saver. And I have a very hard time, like, deciding to spend money on myself. Yeah, I don't know exactly all the reasons, but, and like you said, sometimes it really is worth it though, because of what you end up getting out of it long term. I mean, if you think about it, you're going to save yourself probably at least 2 rounds of HCG in the future, which means you've more than made up for the cost of the program right there.
Yeah, I gotta tell you that the time we've spent together eating outside, away from noise, away from television, away from stuff, and just being with one another is priceless.
Aww.
And who knew a diet program would bring us together like that?
Yeah. Aw, that makes me so
Yeah.
happy to hear that. That's really good.
Yeah.
And also, you guys, just so you know too, like, I have a no questions asked refund policy too. So I spent a lot of time making the program, but now that it's done, it's not like I'm doing one-on-one coaching or anything. So it's like if you're trying it out and you're like, this just doesn't work for me for one reason or another, like, you just email me. So it's not like a big risk either in that way. You know, you put it in, and then you'll find out if it's worth it for you or not. And if it really isn't, it's no big deal, and you won't be out anything in the end. So I didn't want anyone feeling trapped, because that's the hard thing about, I think for me, is like when you decide to buy something, it's a risk, because you don't know if it's going to end up being worth it until you've already bought it and tried it. So I'm like, but what if it ends up not being worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes you just have to take risks. I've just learned that I'm not a big risk taker, and I think I've suffered in life a little bit at times because of not being willing to take a risk here and there. And my husband has actually kind of helped me through that. He's helped me to be like, you can't always know. Sometimes you have to try things out. You just have to try things. And that's true, and then great things have come out of that, so.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good policy to have.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sharilyn. It was really helpful hearing all of that. So.
No problem. I'm glad I got to share with you and your followers.
Yeah.